Am I live? YouTube says I'm live. Oop, there we go. Now it looks like I'm live. I think every live video starts off with someone going, "Are we live? Am I live? Hang on. Can you guys hear me?" Anyway, I'm talking quietly because it's late in my house, but I have been meaning to and trying to work up some kind of daily, or not daily, some kind of regular vlogging. This isn't even a vlog, really. Some kind of regular upload schedule. Because like I said before in my last super awesome video, I do want to do something with this channel. So I thought I'd bring up a topic in the vlog today. Let's make sure the labels don't show. No, it doesn't show anything there. This is decaf. I thought I'd bring up a topic today for this live stream with the title of Writers, You Gotta Mean It, on the subject of killing characters in your book. Okay. I wanted to entitle this stream Killing Your Darlings, but I didn't feel like that was a very appropriate title for a YouTube video, but that is a phrase in writing, killing your darlings. That isn't what we're talking about. That's a completely separate idea, and one that I kind of define differently and not quite as stringently as a lot of other authors. But let's get to the point, because it's late and I don't have any makeup on. So what made me want to talk about this was I just finished reading the sequel to what was a really great book, number one. And the first book is called Passenger, and it's by Alexandra Bracken. Really enjoyed it. Totally out of my wheelhouse in terms of types of books I would normally read, and I really enjoyed it. Found out that it was book one of two. So I got the second book. And the second book, entitled Wayfarer, was a big old disappointment for me. 3 stars only because I liked book one. And what the author did in that book was, among many things that made it a very difficult read and really took away from how good book one was. But what this author did was killed characters and then brought them back. And that's not uncommon in a lot of books, for an author to kill a character and then magically they're back again. Wow, my hands are real big. They're close to the camera. That's not uncommon. And I've heard a lot of book vloggers and book bloggers complain about, a character dying and then magically coming back to life. And here's the problem with that. And this is the subject of the video, as I finally get around to the subject of this video at over 3.5 minutes in. When you kill a character, especially a character that your reader has been involved with throughout the book, I'm not talking about villains, I'm talking about characters your reader has developed some kind of an emotional connection with. When you off them, that's a big moment in your book, a really big moment. And it can lend a lot of weight to the story. It can change a main character's course. It can change and affect so many things. And it can really hit the reader hard, right? It can make them turn the page. Well, if this person died, how is Penelope going to carry on? And it can really make them turn the page. And that's one of your first jobs as a writer, is to continually make your reader turn the page. A tip that I learned from a really great writer here on YouTube, his name is Travis McBee. He had a wonderful series of writing tips videos, and that was one of his writing tips, which is mainly that your job as a writer is to make your reader turn the page. And I subscribe to that fully. So anyway, when you kill a character, you're really impacting the plot of your book. And That's great. You should be looking to impact the plot of your book. But when you bring them back, it can kind of feel like, well, what was the point of them dying then? It takes away the gravitas of the moment. It can trivialize and minimize everything that your reader experienced when that character died. Fred. When Fred died, that had a huge impact on your reader. Now you brought Fred back, and your reader's going, well, wait a minute, I just went through all that for nothing? It's really tempting, and this is really especially true of, science fiction and fantasy novels, because that's really when you're going to play around with this kind of thing. It's tempting to bring them back, because that can be a big moment. Oh, they're back. You thought they were dead. It's like, they're not dead, they're back. But it doesn't work. And it doesn't work, generally speaking. Can it work? Of course it can work. Famous example of it working is The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Aslan died. Lucy and Susan see him killed by the White Witch, right? They go up to his body, they try to untie the ropes, they mourn him. The mice come to untie the ropes. They leave him because it's cold and they should go back to camp. They come back in the morning to check on his body, and Aslan's body is gone, and the stone table is cracked. Could we get into the biblical and Christian allegory that is that part of the story? Of course we could. Are we going to? No, because that's not the subject of today's video. Aslan dies and comes back. But Aslan dies and comes back for a real great reason, which he explains. That the only way how does he explain it? He explains it by saying that the White Witch didn't know of a deeper magic whereby a willing victim is killed through no fault of their own, can start the clocks working backwards. And Aslan coming back means then that the White Witch can be defeated, and that two sons of Adam and two daughters of Eve can sit on the thrones at Cair Paravel. Anyway, that's one example where, of course, it worked. And it was also done by a master storyteller who didn't reuse and rehash that story technique over and over and over again. Nobody else dies and comes back in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, just Aslan. And so when you start to, and that was the problem with this book, Wayfarer, was the author offed two characters. One character that first you liked, then you hated, then you liked, then you hated, then you just didn't know how to feel about this person. They're dead. Okay, well, they were kind of a jerk. And the second person that, even though the relationship was forced with the main character, the emotional aspect of it, there was still some emotional impact when they died. And all of a sudden, at the end of the story, wrapped up with a neat little bow, both of them are back. It takes away. It made me want to put the book down. It made me want to just drop the book and yell. Don't do that to your reader. Don't kill a character and bring them back. Now, if you really wanted to call me out on this, looking at the time here, if you really wanted to call me out on this, you could and say, well, Bree, you did that in book 1 of the Paragon trilogy. You, spoiler alert, if you plan on reading that for some reason, spoiler alert, you killed Cole and you brought him back. You're right, and I'll own that. I did kill him. I didn't have the courage to leave him dead. And suddenly I saw a wonderful loophole on how to bring him back. And in my opinion, it ended up working beautifully. So you know what? Go ahead. Read the Paragon trilogy and tell me if you don't think the plot device you used to bring Cole back wasn't really good, if I do say so myself. Thank you, Lord, for that idea. So anyway, writers. I know you want to kill Fred because it's really gonna do things to Penelope. It's gonna move her forward in the story. It's gonna hurt your reader. It's gonna really have an impact. It's gonna do amazing things. But if you kill Fred, Fred has to stay dead. And that's the point I want to make. It cheapens the impact for your reader, for the plot of the book. Don't do that. And again, like with all things in writing, 9 times out of 10, there's no absolutes in writing. There's no, hardcore yes and no's. You can get away with a lot of stuff when you write. But you shouldn't get away with it just because you can, if that makes sense. Do I have anybody watching? I have one person watching. Hi. I don't know who you are. I wonder if the one person watching is me, because technically I'm watching myself. Yes, that's a fish tank behind me. You're currently sitting in my office with me. I don't like calling it my office. I like calling it my writing room. But anyway, that's beside the point. So yeah, that's what I wanted to jump on and talk to you guys about tonight. Please comment below with what other sorts of subjects you'd like me to discuss. Do I have qualifications to talk about writing? I have several published books that say that, yeah, maybe I have the right to have an opinion and the right to give some advice. Should you check them out? Sure, you should. I will leave the link below in the description box. Please like and subscribe. I'm going to try and make something out of this channel. Till next time, yeah. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.